right, you guys, we have an amazing garden tour for you today. I've been wanting to do this for a while. The crazy thing is, we've had some Weeblins move in. They will overtake your garden really quickly, and they get really territorial. Even though there's Weeblins in the garden, we're gonna go for it. So let's get going. Oh wait, I see some of the Weeblins already. Oh man, they're getting into some of my watermelon. Urgh. There's the Weeblins. Ah, and they're so territorial too. Okay, this is gonna be a battle. This is gonna be a garden tour battle today. Let's go. Well, this is getting to be a rather interesting garden tour, but there's something deeper going on, and I'll wrap it all up at the end. The first thing I want to share with you guys is mulch. What a lot of people don't talk about is when to mulch. So here's some really good information that I love. In nature, it mulches itself in the fall when all the leaves fall down, right? And that's when the plants on the ground will actually go dormant, so they're used to being mulched. If you're trying to suppress an area of weeds or grass or anything, mulch a couple months before the fall, or wait a couple months in after winter, and when things start to sprout up and get out of dormancy, then you can mulch. Man, I know those sneaky Weeblins are somewhere. There's the Weeblins. You see them over there? They're being sneaky. Oh no, they're gonna come get me. I think. Well, I can't give up the garden tour. Let's just keep going. The other thing that I really wanted to show you guys was garden borders. With this line of comfrey, what this creates is a border from some really invasive plants out there. And all that is all Bermuda grass. And it is highly invasive. I got a tool. If you start getting some weeds that are coming up in the garden, you can actually take the comfrey and with your garden knife, use that to mulch your weeds. So now I'm growing my own mulch. So now this is a garden border to keep out weeds, but now when it starts to grow too much, I use it as mulch for other areas of my garden. Where are they at? Let's go find them. I think they're right over there. Let's go get them. Oh! Oh! Oh my goodness! Luckily, as long as I can have something I can forage within arm's reach, if I get hit, then I'll be fine. And they just happened to shoot me right next to the horseradish. Oh man. So I've shown you a little bit about the mulch. I've shown you a little bit about our garden border. I want to keep going this way. If you're starting a new garden, just start small. Don't go too big, because then it gets too overwhelming. Because it's amazing how much food you can grow in a small space. They already got me once. They're not going to get me again. So I just want to encourage you guys that choosing what you grow that fits the area that you live in really matters for gardening success. So what we've done here is, especially foraging, helps us so much to realize what grows really, really well. We get out in the woods and we forage and we learn what grows, what is really resilient, and then we come back and we apply that to our garden. So blackberries grow really well here. Elderberries grow really well here. So we've done that. And this garden looks like a mess. You can see it. It looks terrible. But at the same time, it is thriving. It's absolutely thriving.
once. They're not gonna get me again.
The stinking Weeblins! They got me again! Oh man, oh there's so many things, but I'm gonna choose one of my favorites. This'll get me back going. This is a chicory flower. In fact, I'm gonna have two. I'm gonna get really strong. A lot of times in the garden, I'll leave the chicory so I can snack on it while I'm working and get a little nutrient boost. Oh man, I'm feeling better now. Oh, Weeblin! I'm gonna get you! Okay, where were we? So what I've been doing is I've been growing perennials with my annuals. And what that does is it always, especially in the dormant season, the perennials, the roots are still living. There's fungus in the soil that partners with living roots, and those are called mycorrhizae. And that is a fungus that partners with the roots, and plants actually do better when the fungus is there. If the roots are not there, the fungus is no longer there, and it takes a while for it to come back. So 95% of plants partner with mycorrhizae. So the point of having perennials in my garden all the time mixed in with my annuals is that it always has that environment for mycorrhizae to flourish. And I have some perennials here that grow really well in this area. This is elderberry. I see the Weeblins right there. They're sneaky. They're not going to get me this time. Ready? Here we go. Oh no, I'm shooting done. Oh, I got it! Oh! A Weeblin! I got a Weeblin! Yes!
A dandelion leaf.
What? Are you serious? Are they foraging to regain their health too? No! How did they learn how to do that? All right, well, let's keep going. So over here we have all our trees, and we'll get to those in a minute. But first I want to talk about our other garden of sweet potatoes. Look at this. This must be where the Weeblins are coming from. I see they're digging a hole right underneath the berry patch. They must love the berries. Over here is a clear picture of perennials and annuals. So I have elderberries in a row here, and then in the middle this year I planted some watermelons for ground cover. And it worked out pretty well. You can see that we have weeds. I don't worry too much about weeds. If they're covering the ground when the other plants are not, weeds are kind of okay as long as you get to them before they go to seed. Or even if they do go to seed, you just get them next year. It's best to get to them before they go to seed though. You just get me? Right in the leg. Are you serious? Oh man. Well, I guess I'm right here. Sweet potato, green, is actually edible. So these are better when they're cooked, but you can eat them raw as well. I'm starting to get oh, here's some clover. You can eat a little bit of clover raw. This one's actually a chicory leaf. I'm feeling better. All right, so what I'm gonna talk about now is sweet potatoes. If you're not growing sweet potatoes, they can grow almost anywhere, and they are so good. They store for a really long time. You can also eat the greens like I just demonstrated. So luckily I got shot somewhere that I was able to eat some. But sweet potatoes grow in the ground really well, especially if your soil is depleted. I see the Weeblins. Get the Weeblins! Oh no! I see a clover flower, another clover flower. You can actually eat clover flowers. Whoa. Oh, another chicory flower. Getting my strength back. I got hit twice there. If I get hit again, I gotta retreat. So what I wanted to talk about was sweet potatoes. And they really do well in just straight dirt. So if you have an area of your garden where you can't mulch yet, you just don't have enough mulch, and you want to grow something and want to grow something vigorous, check out if sweet potatoes grow in your area, because I grew them in the tropics and I'm growing them here in the temperate climate in zone 6B as well. Really good in both areas. Are you serious? So you can eat the greens all summer long, all growing season, and then at the end of growing season you harvest them. And we are still eating sweet potatoes from last year, which is almost a year ago. So they're storing in our root cellar for almost 1 year. That's pretty good storage for something, and you don't have to do anything to it. So this is an area where we planted a version of Three Sisters, but this year I planted watermelon instead of squash around the sorghum. And for whatever reason, the watermelon didn't do very well. So that's also good to see. Sometimes you try new things and it doesn't work. So I'm gonna go back to squash, and you can watch that on our sorghum video, but I'm gonna go back to just doing squash in with the sorghum and the beans. Okay, so here we go. Got it! Those Weeblins are pretty flighty. You gotta be tricky. You almost gotta pretend not to see them. Oh! Ah! Right in the neck! And I got nothing. Oh! Here we go. This is a really good one. This is what many people consider a weed in the garden, but this is actually really nutritious. This is sorrel. It's really tart. It's actually kind of refreshing. This is why I like to leave some weeds in my garden. This is such a good snack. And my kids really like this one too. Where are my kids anyway? Guys, I'm sorry. I gotta retreat. I'm gonna have to call in for backup to finish this garden tour. I've been hit, what, 5 times? Oh, there they are. Blackberry. There's a sweet potato vine that's crept all the way through from the other side. Sweet potato leaves are so much better when they're cooked, when my wife cooks them. Oh, they're so yummy. It's gonna give me enough to retreat. I gotta get out of here. So now let me briefly wrap this up for you. Sustainable agriculture is intertwined with the heart of society. And what does that mean? There is so much wonderful information online now about sustainable agriculture and gardening hacks, and I love that. But is wisdom alone enough for true sustainability? I've spent enough time in so many places of the world that have good soil, great weather, and centuries of agriculture knowledge handed down through generations of farmers who grow sustainably, who grow brilliantly, and yet the people are still hungry or sometimes starving. Why is that? When the heart of a people become corrupted, hurt, bitter, fearful, or unforgiving, the land itself will always reflect that. You could grow the best garden, but if your hurting community or your misguided authorities, or starving neighbors, in this case represented by the Weeblins, come in and steal it all or burn it to the ground because they are bitter, hurt, lied to, or suffering from corruption themselves, what good is your agriculture knowledge? Growing a sustainable garden means also growing a heart of a community. That means growing in love for one another, healing from our own hurts and fears, and then investing in your community to help them grow in character as well. Sustainable farming must be a labor with love, or it's not sustainable. But if we can be peacemakers in our homes, in our hearts, in our communities, we may just see the blessing of the land be there for the next generation. So please stay in touch and hit the notification button when you subscribe if you want any new content to be more likely to reach you in this modern flood of content online. And I'm going to leave you with one quote. "And a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace."